Hello again, I'm still Ben, back to the hatch to see what our topic is today. If you guys haven't figured it out, today is like mostly the same day a lot of the time. It doesn't take long to do these videos. The voice is already starting to give out on this one. Let's see. A nuclear disarmament. Doot, 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 doot. Well, that one really kind of speaks for itself, doesn't it? Maybe I won't lose my voice after all. I mean, nuclear disarmament is the only thing that makes sense after we've made such horrifically destructive weapons. You know, there's been countless, I guess they've probably counted them actually, tests and explosions over the years as they've continued to develop it, in addition to the 2 times the nuclear bombs have been used. But this, I feel, stifles a sort of healthy lower level of aggression between places. It's, think of how dangerous India and Pakistan have been because they're both nuclear powers. So anytime they have a serious disagreement and want to, step to each other, it could be catastrophically bad for the entire planet. Unlike kind of India and China that, keep fighting over some of the mountain ranges there, but don't ever seem to want to cross that line. There's scuffles and there's a little bit of fighting, but I think that kind of thing is healthy, in a small kind of way. Having nukes is detrimental to world peace. It always has been. It's a technology that is far too destructive, and it is improved technologically so much since it first arrived that we've got very little hope of ever using them again without destroying the vast life on Earth, Like, there's going to be things that probably survive deep in the ocean, but the bombs now are so much bigger and so much more destructive than the ones that were already horribly used that, those start flying around. That is literally end game for everybody. That's it. So having them here is pointless because we're never going to use them unless we decide to, collective global suicide. So, why bother? Why bother having these arsenals? Why bother having all of this nuclear material wasted in something as stupid as a bomb? I think all of it should be disassembled and reused for nuclear energy in some other way. It just doesn't make sense here. And I think in a lot of policies and in a lot of ways, if the U.S. acts first, then other nations will follow. Because if you haven't been paying attention for the last 80 years or so, we've been the nation that's been pointing a gun at the rest of the world. So, if we lower our gun first, so to speak, if we enact our own nuclear disarmament interior here, internally, then I do think that we will see more cooperation internationally with that. Please see my video on our relationship with Russia and how I'd like to be able to repair that. Because I think a great deal of the arms race that we've seen over the last century has simply been in response to how fascist the United States has become. So if we fix some of our problems, and one of those problems being just having so many nuclear weapons, then I think other nations are going to back down better. We have to have the faith in ourselves and in other people enough, and the bravery to lower our weapon first. We should be talking about nuclear disarmament on a mass scale because having it is incredibly pointless. We could be doing so much with those resources instead. The nuclear power is getting much, much better. I'm still personally a little skeptical about nuclear power. I'm one of those skeptics because it does seem like every time there's a disaster, it's poisoning a huge part of the planet. So, why not just use renewable energy that we already have, fellas? But it is getting better and closer to being safe and effective. So, yeah. Nuclear disarmament should be necessary. It's absolutely something that I would start. My name is Ben Howison. Sursum Corda.